Hi everyone, this is Prudence Ticknor. I'm the registered dietitian for Mexico Bariatric Center, and this is the preoperative diet webinar. Before we get started, in the question box, if you guys can just confirm that you can hear me. Awesome. Okay, good. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for being on the webinar. So just a little bit before we get started, so just to be mindful of the time, what I do is, as I'm going through things, if questions come up for you, please go ahead and type them in the question box. If I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you, I will get to them, but what I usually do is answer them at the end because a lot of times I'll have already answered the question somewhere in the preoperative webinar. But so go ahead and type them as the questions come up, and then at the very end I will answer them. Alrighty, so let's get started. So let's see here. All right, so a little bit about Mexico Bariatric Center. Um, Mexico Bariatric Center has specialized in medical tourism for over 8 years. It provides very reliable and affordable weight loss surgery in Mexico, and it's helped hundreds of people get life-changing the procedures. We offer a variety of different procedures with great success. And then just quickly a little bit about me. I am the dietitian. I have my master's degree in nutrition. I'm also a certified health coach. I've specialized in bariatric nutrition for over 12 years. I'm also certified in NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and that's really looking at the mind-body, addressing emotional eating. I always tell people that the surgery's in your stomach, but you also have to work with your mind. So feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions as far as non-hunger eating or emotional eating. And then this has really been a passion of mine. I didn't have bariatric surgery, but I was morbidly obese, and a lot of what I teach has to do with just my own journey. And so I lost 75 pounds 5+ years ago and been able to keep it off. Just a little bit about my philosophy, and the reason I talk about this is because a lot of times you guys will Google bariatric diets, and MBC, we do things a little bit differently here at MBC, and so I just want to explain why. We take more of a holistic approach, so everything that I recommend is going to be, free of chemicals or very minimal chemicals, free of the bovine growth hormone. A lot of things that also play a part in obesity, causing you to have cravings. I mean, uh, weight loss is a very complex issue, so I try to address as many areas as possible. How foods affect and feed the brain. This is very, very important. How it affects your skin and elasticity and long-term weight loss. So everything that I talk to you about is not just for the here and now, but I'm looking at, okay, what you're doing now, but I'm also thinking about setting you up for long-term success 2 years from now. Quality matters. So these are specific areas that you do not want to go and buy your cheapest thing. A lot of times when you have very cheap products, they're full of chemicals, they're full of toxins. Your intake is going to be so minimal, so you really want to invest, especially in these 3 areas. So the type of protein supplements you buy are going to be important. Very, very, very important to get high quality bariatric specific vitamins. I can't talk enough about this. More and more research is coming out looking at bariatric patients, and they're looking 5, 10, 7, 10 years out, and they're finding people that are deficient. And then also, I mean, just today I was on the phone with a few people that just went out and bought generic vitamins, and they didn't get they weren't the right types. Some people bought gummies and they had too much sugar in them, and so now they have to go back and buy new vitamins because they're not the right time, or like I said, they have too much sugar. It's just easier to get the bariatric specific ones. And then high quality probiotics, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So what is the purpose of pre-op? So there's several purposes that we're looking at. The main purpose being shrinking the liver. So they have to lift the liver to do the surgery. So obviously, the smaller it is, the easier it is for the surgeons. The next thing is to create an alkaline environment, and this is really very, very important because this affects your post-op diet. You know, and I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he's like, Prudence, I followed your diet to the T. I didn't go off at all. And he's like, I've had such a smooth transition. And he friended a bunch of people while he was there, and he said he was so happy he did not have all like some of the side effects like acid reflux or nausea. So there's things that your diet, what you do ahead of time, can actually make your life so much easier post-op. And the main thing we're trying to do is when you go into surgery, the more alkaline your body is, the less problems you're going to have post-op, specific to some of those things like nausea, severe acid reflux. We're also starting to begin the behavior change process. There's actually a lot of changes that you guys have to make. The surgery is just a tool. It is not, you know, you have to be able to work with it. So and we'll go through the behavior changes as we go through the webinar. And then if weight loss happens, that's fantastic. And usually it does for most people. So for the probiotic, why do we need to take a probiotic? It strengthens the gut. It helps decrease inflammation, which is great for post-op. I already mentioned that one of the side effects after surgery is acid reflux. This will help prevent it. And it also increases absorption. So you have to understand that after surgery, you don't have the same digestive enzymes. And on top of that, you're eating a fraction of what you're used to. So you want to be able to absorb as much as possible. So I recommend the raw probiotic. They have specific ones for women and for men. Uh, this is the best product I've found out there so far. But what you need, if you can't get something, if you can't find raw, then you need a probiotic that has to have at least 50 billion units, and you want as many strains as possible. So like this one here has 32 different strains, and like I said, I have not found any probiotic to top this. But if you do go into a vitamin store or like a Whole Foods, more than likely they're going to have this brand, but if they don't, then you can just ask them to get something as close to this as possible. And you're going to want to start this 6 weeks before your surgery. Now, if you're on this call and you only have 2 weeks until your surgery, that's fine. Just start it as soon as possible, and then you'll just pick it up after surgery. And you're going to take your probiotic right up until the day before surgery. Apple cider vinegar, again, very important. It's one of the best things that will help you create an alkaline environment, again, to help reduce the chances of acid reflux post-op. It assists with weight loss. It also helps with absorption. So they do have this brand actually brags, if you don't want to take straight apple cider vinegar, they do create a juice now, but there's only there's a few of them that have 5 grams of sugar, so you obviously can't have that. But I think there's a lemon lime and maybe one other flavor that has absolutely no sugar. So you have to read the labels, but they do offer drinks, and they also have tablets. So some people prefer to take the tablets, and that's fine. But I actually personally drink it like it's a tea. You know, and once you start taking it, I actually enjoy it now. So I'll just make a big cup of hot water and put 2 tablespoons in. But if you'd rather just get it over, you could take like a little shot glass and just dilute it with a little bit of water. If you already have acid reflux, what I recommend doing is doing it twice a day, doing it first thing in the morning and then before you go to bed. Coffee. So this is a big thing, and people always say, oh, well, can I drink caffeine-free coffee? It's really not about the caffeine as much as it is about the acidity of the coffee. Coffee is very, very acidic. So really you want to be off coffee for sure 1 week, but preferably 2 weeks. So even if you're somebody who has a 2-day clear liquid diet, or maybe you're only on a 1-week pre-op, you really want to start some of these things, like starting the probiotics, starting the apple cider vinegar, stopping the coffee, because again, all these things are going to affect you post-op. And just, just so you kind of know the other side, with acid reflux, it's something that will go away. It's more frustrating, but when you've had surgery and you have severe acid reflux, a lot of times or you have severe nausea, and some clients get this, and almost always when I ask them, they did not follow these 3 things, almost always. But uh, you have a hard time keeping your fluids in. So what's the side effect of that? It's not only is the frustration and annoyance of having to deal with severe acid reflux and nausea, but you also might end up in the hospital from dehydration because you can't keep the fluids in. So these things are really, really important. A great alternative, I love coffee, and this has been the only thing that's allowed me to stop drinking coffee. It's fantastic. It's called Ticino. You can order it online, or you can get it in like your Whole Foods type stores. They have lots of different flavors. You can buy the bean just like it looks just like a coffee bean, or you can buy already ground. And they also have little tea bags too, that you would make just like a tea. But it's a great coffee alternative. And this is actually made from herbs, so it has natural herbs in it, so it's non-acidic, so it's fine. But the other great thing is it has natural energy stimulants in it from the herbs. So one of the side effects, again, post-op, is lack of energy. So this product also is like a supplement to help you with your energy as well. So there's so many benefits to this. So this is something you can start to transition over and start using. If you are a die-hard coffee drinker, you will be able to go back to coffee, with no creamers, no sugars and stuff, but you will be able to drink coffee about 6 weeks, probably about 6 weeks post-op. So diet overview. So basically it's pretty simple. You're doing 2 real meals a day, and it doesn't matter when they are. It's however it works for you. And then 2 to 3 protein shakes a day. So let's say you want to do a breakfast, a good breakfast, do a protein shake for a snack, a protein shake for lunch, come home and do dinner, real food for dinner, and then in the evening, if you need that third protein shake, you could have it then. So protein supplements, what are you looking for? Like I said, you want 2 to 3 protein shakes a day. You can do powder or liquid, that's your preference. Powder is always going to be your best option because it doesn't have all the chemicals and toxins that the pre-made shakes have. But I understand that a lot of times you guys are really busy and you work long hours. So if you need the liquid, that's fine. But what you want is it has to have a minimum of 20 grams of protein. This is really important. So if you've already bought something and it doesn't follow these guidelines, then you need to get something else. But it has to have at least 20 grams of protein, and it has to have less than 5 grams of sugar. You can do whey protein if you want. Research actually shows that whey helps you stay satisfied as far as your hunger is concerned the longest. But if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you definitely can do a plant-based protein. You just want to do a combination of pea, rice, and hemp. Do not do an exclusive soy-based protein. It messes up with your hormones. It increases your estrogen levels. So unless you're in menopause, you don't really want just an exclusive soy-based protein. Okay, so these are some of the ones that I recommend personally. So like I said at the very beginning, we recommend whole based as we can. We're looking at things that don't have sugar substitutes. They don't have the bovine growth hormone. Just a little bit about the bovine growth hormone. Um, Literally, the United States is the only country that allows it. It's banned in every other country, even China. And what the bovine growth hormone is, it's injected into cows to make them grow fatter faster and to produce more milk. So you have to say, okay, one, why is it banned in every other country? The reason is because the side effects are horrific. And the other thing is if it's making cows fatter faster, then you have to think, what is it doing to you? So and it's going to be in anything that's a dairy product. So anytime you get a that's the protein from milk. So any like yogurts, cottage cheese, whey-based proteins, you're really going to want to look at the package and make sure that it says it's hormone free, and it will say it on the package. Anything that I recommend is going to be for sure. It's not going to have sugar substitutes, and it's not going to have any of the bovine growth hormone. My absolute favorite is J. Rob's. The reason I recommend unflavored is because, one, you can add it to stuff. You can add it to your oatmeal. You can, add little bits to your food if you need it because it's unflavored. There are a lot of protein powders that they say they're unflavored, but they actually have a nasty aftertaste. So again, you guys can go through uh, and this is the same for both Undri. Undri is a pretty fantastic product too. And this was actually made specifically for bariatric patients, Undri was. So, but both of these, I'm saying the same thing. But if you get unflavored, it's easier. And then you can add flavors to it because you're basically doing protein shakes even when you get long post-op. You're going to be doing them for a while, so you get bored. If you just get chocolate or something, you're going to get bored with that after a while. Where if you get unflavored or vanilla, it's, you can add different fruits and flavors to it. And these all follow the guidelines that I'm talking about. What else do I want to say about this? Be Quick is another really good one. Oh, the other thing I want to say about these is if you do get the flavored ones, they're sweetened with stevia. They do not have any sucralose or aspartame in them. I know that the Premier protein shakes are really popular. Why? Because they're cheap and you can buy them at Costco. And again, everything is relative, so you guys are going to want to find out what's best for you. I don't personally recommend those. They have aspartame in them, and it's probably the worst sugar substitute to be putting into your body. But both of these products have the ones that are flavored they use stevia. So that's another thing that research is showing, that people that use sugar substitutes end up eating more food throughout the day. And this is something I really had to count the cost on because I did a lot of emotional eating, and my pattern is to crave sugar. So, and I even personally noticed a huge difference when I cut out the sugar substitutes in my diet. So if you are going to use a sugar substitute, I do recommend that you use stevia. Aspartame is 700 times sweeter than regular sugar. Sucralose is 600 times sweeter, and stevia is about 150 to 200 times sweeter than regular sugar. So you have to understand that when you're taking in something that's 600 or 700 times sweeter than regular food, you've primed your taste buds for something that's so unnatural that you're never going to get from food. So what does that leave you? It leaves you craving all the time, always wanting something. So that's just a little side thing about sugar substitutes and when you're choosing the protein powder. If you want a plant-based, and I actually have a variety of different proteins, you may want to buy a few different ones. My absolute favorite is Aloha. You can go to aloha.com, and they actually will send you free packets. This one does go under the protein a little bit. It's 18 grams, but it's close enough, and it's a great product. And then the other one, Sun Warrior, Um, there's a lot of different blends they have. I recommend the Warrior blend. Both of these are raw. I mean, are vegan based, so they're 100% vegetarian. Okay, pre-made shakes. So there's not a lot of pre-made shakes out there that are free of sugar substitutes and do not have the bovine growth hormone. I have searched and searched. If you know of one outside of what I'm recommending, please let me know. But these three are fantastic. Orgain, if you get the Orgain though, you have to get the high protein one. You'll see 25 grams of protein right on it. Again, all three of these are free of the bovine growth hormone and they're free of sugar substitutes. Their stevia is actually what is used for all three of these. You can buy this in Walmart's or your regular grocery store. You will find it's a little bit more expensive, but again, it's higher quality. It doesn't have all the crap in it that some of those other ones have, which is important because you have to say to yourself, when I'm taking in all these chemicals, where are they stored? They're stored in your fat cells. So the more chemicals you take into your body, the larger your fat cells are getting. So chemicals do play a part in weight loss. Um, is also these other two, and cocoa protein. This is made with a coconut water. Um, these both you have to order online. So, but again, great products. And they taste good too. All right, your meals. So you're doing 2 meals a day, and what you have to understand is you're looking at least 4 ounces of protein. It can be more than 4 ounces, but you have to have a minimum of 4 ounces. You want at least 1 ounce of fat. Again, it can be more, but you have to have at least 1 ounce. And then, of course, as many vegetables as you want. Protein sources, I send all of you guys a pre-op packet. So go through that. All of this information is in there. Basically, if it comes from an animal, you can use it. And also there's some other things like lentils, any type of beans, all your seeds. You can use some, if you're a vegetarian, there's some vegetarian based. Satan here on the end, this is probably the highest protein source you can get as far as vegetarian is concerned. And it doesn't really have a flavor, so you can kind of mix it with whatever you're making. But, you can be creative, you guys. Use a lot of seasonings and stuff. If you're going to use a sauce, you just have to be careful to make sure it doesn't have any sugar in it. You have to definitely read your labels. And I always tell people think, oh, I just have to do 3 shakes and a chicken salad every day, and that's not the case. I'll see people post on the website like, oh, I'm dying to have a hamburger. Well, ground beef is on here. Turkey is on here. You can do ground turkey, ground beef. You just can't do the bun. So you can um, do like the lettuce wrap with, and you can have pickles, you can have mustard, onions, lettuce, tomato, you can avocado, you can do a great burger. You just can't do any of the carbs or the sugar. So be creative. Healthy fats, you want at least 1 ounce or 1 tablespoon. So if you want to, like with your salad dressings, you might be adding a tablespoon of olive oil. You can throw a tablespoon of coconut oil. And even just having somewhere between 2 to 4 tablespoons of coconut oil a day is really helpful. So the primary source of energy for the brain is sugar, which is glucose. That's what you're cutting out of your diet. And so your brain is, when you start to cut that out, your brain's going to be freaking out and it's going to say, oh my gosh, like, feed me, feed me, feed me. And that's where the cravings come in. So you really want to set yourself up for success. And actually the next preferred source of calories for the brain is coconut oil, because coconut oil is specifically a medium chain triglyceride. So the way it's broken down, it's easiest because just like us, we're going to take the easiest way to work. We want to do things with the least amount of resistance, right? Well, our bodies are super efficient. So it wants to do the least amount of work to get what it needs. And so with, as far as feeding the brain, coconut oil is going to be your best option. But again, all of this is in there. As long as it, don't do margarine. If you're going to do real butter or ghee. Peanut butter, you have to be really careful. Um, oh shoot, I went back one. There we go. So I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So Justin's peanut all natural almond butter. I don't know about peanut butter, but Justin's and Adams. Those are two sources that they don't have the sugar in it. So you have to read the labels, but you definitely can get those two. And if you want to add that to your shake, that's totally fine. But again, make sure you're looking at the food labels. Now, the other thing I want to say is you guys are so used to trying to buy everything fat-free. Well, most of your fat-free products, like your dressings and stuff, if it's lower in fat, it's going to increase something else. You're always going to change something else. So what that something else is usually sugar. So you're not looking for fat-free products necessarily on your pre-op. So it'd be better to do a full fat dressing. You want to stay within the 2 tablespoons and just make sure it has no sugar in it. And of course, the less processed, the better. So just doing like squeezing a lemon or doing straight olive oil with salt and pepper and stuff like that. But if you do a salad dressing, it's fine. Just make sure it doesn't have sugar in it. So foods to avoid, basically it's all sugars, all starches. There is a very long list that I send you. There's no fruit, but you will see it gets the people, sometimes people get confused. You can do a half a cup of berries or a half a cup of banana in your protein shake only. That's it. There's no fruit outside of that. So if you're using a pre-made shake, then you're not eating fruit. It's not either or. So you can put it in your protein drink and only a half a cup. Like I already mentioned, you have to read the food labels. You really want to be mindful of like the processed meats, like bacon, salami, bologna, sausage. The thinking about shrinking the liver, the two main things as far as the liver is concerned is um, so glycogen storage is in the liver, so that's your sugar storage. So by doing this diet, what you're doing is depleting your glycogen storage, which then shrinks the liver. And but the other thing is it filters, your liver filters all the chemicals and toxins. So obviously the more crap you're putting into your body, the more processed meats, again, that's going to affect your liver as well. So just be mindful of that. The vegetables, I give you the vegetables, but basically all vegetables are open except for corn, peas, and potatoes. Popcorn, people always ask me about that, but corn, peas, and potatoes, they're actually considered a carbohydrate. So for example, like a basic half a cup of vegetables is around 25 calories. Corn and peas are 100 calories. Why? Because of the sugar content. And kind of with corn, and I know it's always funny because I'll ask people if they eat vegetables, and it's so common. Most people who hate vegetables, they're like, I hate vegetables, but I'll eat corn and peas. And unfortunately, they're not a vegetable. So, and they use corn to fatten up cows. So, corn is not something that's, you know, really needs to be in your diet. Then the other thing, because dairy has sugar in it, there's no dairy at all. So no cheese, no yogurt, no cottage cheese. There is an exception, the 2 days of clear liquids, and we'll talk about that a little later on. Okay, so 7 days before surgery. So, and let me back up a little bit. So this is kind of the overall outline of what you're doing. Remember, 2 meals, 2 to 3 protein shakes, 4 ounces of protein, 1 to 2 ounces of fat, as many vegetables as you want. And each person is different, so depending the length of your pre-op can be 2 days clear liquids up to 8 weeks or more, depending on your BMI. So each person is different. So you just want to be, it'll change depending on your BMI. So if you when I send you the email, I send everybody a packet. I tell you how many weeks you're going to be on your pre-op. And it doesn't hurt to start early. It definitely is easier if you slowly transition, like weaning yourself off the sugars, weaning yourself off the soda. There's no soda either. I didn't mention that. It might be coming up. I'm not sure. But sometimes people think, oh, let me do diet soda. No, no soda at all. It doesn't matter if it's diet or not. Okay, so 7 days prior to surgery, you're going to stop all herbal supplements. Uh, you get a specific medication packet, like if you're on a lot of medication. Basically, if you did not get an email saying you had to stop certain medications, then you're fine. But you should have a complete list in your packet that was sent to you. If you have any questions, so basically you have your coordinator, you have me, so basically I'm the person you would call for all your nutrition questions, vitamin questions, weight loss questions. And then if you have any type of medical questions, you're going to call Jennifer. It would just call the main number here, which is 855-768-7247, and then the extension is 139 for her. This is also her email, jen@sources.com, and I actually put all this information in the packet that I send you. 3 days before surgery, you're taking a laxative. A lot of times people say, what should I take? MBC doesn't have a specific recommendation. Some people do liquid, some people do the pills. So it's really a personal preference. I usually tell people to, have your last day of your actual pre-op and then take it in the evening, and just make sure you drink lots of water. And then 2 days prior to surgery, you're doing clear liquids. What does that mean? It doesn't have to be white. It doesn't have to be like water. It just has to be transparent. So that means you can see through it. So like, for example, orange juice is not a clear liquid. Cranberry juice and apple juice are. Like, can you see your hand on the other side of the bottle type of thing? So some examples: coconut water. You can do all the broths you want. Like vitamin and life water. I like these because why? They're sweetened with stevia. They're not sweetened with aspartame. If you're a Crystal Light drinker, again, Crystal Light is sweetened with aspartame. So they did just come out with a new product. Well, it's probably not new anymore, but it's right with the Crystal Light packets, but it's got it's a white box with like a green leaf on it. That specific brand of Crystal Light, again, is sweetened with stevia. So if you're a Crystal Light drinker, switch over to that. And again, just be mindful. Think about the fact that it's, at least 150 to 200 times regular than regular sugar. So even if you're using that stuff, water it down. Really start to train your taste buds to be okay with real, regular, normal food. It really helps with long-term cravings. And you want to use this time to really start to retrain yourself. The first year or 2 years post-op, you might not feel like eating the sugar and stuff, but some of that stuff longer term comes back. So the more changes you can make now to set yourself up for success makes your life so much easier long term. So unsweetened herbal, you can do as many herbal teas as you want. You can do sugar-free Jell-O, sugar-free popsicles, and I already said no carbonated beverages. Now also, you also are doing 2 Greek yogurts a day. The purpose for this is the probiotics. So if you're listening to me and you're like, oh my gosh, yogurt makes me gag, I can't stand it, don't worry about the yogurt. If you did the probiotic that I recommended, so because that probiotic is so much stronger than whatever's in the yogurt. But if you are going to do your 2 Greek yogurts a day, I recommend Olga's 000. You can see 000 down here. Again, it's sweetened with stevia. It doesn't have the other sugar substitutes in it, and it has a lot more sugar, a lot more protein than sugar. So whatever you get, you have to get one that has more protein than sugar in it, and your sugar needs to be under 10 grams. So 000 is pretty popular. Of course, you can do flavored, but it can't have any chunks of fruit in it. And of course, your best option is plain Greek yogurt, but I know some people don't like that. So if you're going to do flavored, you just got to follow these guidelines. 8 hours prior to surgery, no fluids after midnight at all, and no medications as well, unless, again, you got specific guidelines, you've talked to Jennifer, and you've been told something else, and you follow those guidelines. And before I go into that, and some of the other things, I'm going to be doing the post-op webinar at 5:15, and I go over a lot of the behavior changes that are important. But some of that stuff, just because you guys have surgery, and surgery itself is a top stressor, and then drastic changes in your food is also a top stressor. So starting some of these behavior lifestyle changes, like as far as getting used to not eating in your car, not eating on the run, sitting down, taking the time to eat, because you're not going to be able to eat fast anymore. You have to cut your food up into pea-sized bites. There's a lot of things that you need to change. So if you have the time, I would definitely recommend that you watch the post-op webinar as well, so you can learn about the behavior changes. Because again, the sooner you start some of this stuff, it just makes your whole life so much easier. Just the transition is so much smoother. Okay, so why choose Mexico Bariatric Center? And this is really huge. So our surgeons, they cap their surgeries at 3 to 4 a day. And I've worked with surgeons that have done a lot more than this. So this is awesome. So they're very alert on top of things. Also huge, they MBC specializes, the surgeons specialize in bariatric surgery. It's all they do. So they've done thousands of surgeries. And actually, the American Society for Bariatric Surgery looked at the performance and the success rate and side effects and everything. And what they found is centers that do more than 100 cases annually, they have a much better success rate, less, shorter complications, less complications, shorter time in the hospital versus, there are some surgeons that do bariatric surgery, but they do a bunch of other things as well. So MBC does specialize in bariatric surgery, all the surgeons that we use. So it's a very high quality company. You have a support that's amazing. So you don't feel like you're by yourself. You have your team in Mexico, and then when you get back, and this is at no additional cost to you. You can call me up. You can call Jennifer up at any time and ask us questions. Okay, so if you want to reach me directly, this is my email, prudence@sources.com. My direct extension is 133. And all this information is in the packet that I give you, but you might want to write it down and save it. I send you a link to a bariatric vitamin store, but it's called bariatricsurgeryvitamins.com. And you actually can, and I put this again in the email, but we give a discount because you were on the webinar. If you write 10% off in the code, there's a code button. If you write that off, you can get 10% off your purchase. So that's it, you guys. So I am going to go to the questions now. Let's see here. Okay, just give me a second. So, okay, wow. So Robert, he has his whole family. I guess his wife and his oldest daughter already had surgery. And you're getting ready to have surgery. Let's see, that's good. Let's see. Is the probiotic just after surgery, or is it part of the pre-op? So definitely the probiotic is pre-op. So the way that because it's so strong, it's not something that you need to do for like forever in the sense of always. So the recommended amount of time is 6 weeks. So let's say you start, so if you do 6 weeks before surgery, then you don't really need to do it again for like 3 months. So you want to do a 6 week rotation probably every three to 4 months, and you'll do another, and that just keeps your gut active. It keeps it strong, cleans it out. But let's say you started 2 weeks before surgery, then you're going to pick it up after surgery and do another 4 weeks. Let's see. Can we get a copy of the webinar materials via email, PDF attachment? So Megan, you get all the attachments in, you can email me if you haven't received your packet already. So I email you links to videos. I've done little short videos for both pre and post-op, plus I have very detailed written material. It's also on our website. But we also have a YouTube station, and I highly recommend that you guys go to YouTube and search Mexico Bariatric Center, and our channel will come up. And because I don't just do pre and post webinars, a lot of times I'll do different webinars just on different topics that people have asked me to do. So this way, if you join our station, anytime I offer something, it gets recorded, like this is being recorded, and it will be on our YouTube station. So if you join our station, it will get automatically emailed to you, and then you don't miss anything. Let's see. Does it matter if we heat the oil? No, absolutely not, Esther. That's fine. Making sure goat cheese would be considered dairy. Yes, Esther, no dairy, so no cheese at all. None, zero. And of course, this changes post-op. This is specifically to shrink the liver and help you create an alkaline environment. When do we get the packages? It depends on when you're having surgery, but feel free to email me and just say, hey, can you send me the packet? And just make sure you give me your first and last name so I can look you up, and I'll send it to you. Shelly, you mentioned the need to stop vitamins 7 days prior to surgery, but do we also stop probiotics? No. So, and really, I said herbal supplements. That's the most important thing. Like if you're taking, but your basic vitamins are fine, and your probiotic, you'll actually take that right up until the day before surgery. Uh, Also, can we eat raw yogurt from our local health store? You can eat that 2 days on your clear liquid phase only. You cannot do it on pre-op. Again, this is something fantastic. This will be fantastic for post-op. But there's no dairy at all pre-op other than the 2 days before clear liquid. I mean, yeah, before the clear liquid phase. Any other questions, you guys? Well, thank you so much for being on the call. I hope that this was helpful to you. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me with any questions via email or phone call. Let's see. I live in the college dorm. Okay, so you live in a college dorm, you eat the cafeteria. Do you have any recommendations for how to gauge if stuff has sugar without packages there? So yeah, unfortunately, nothing in sauces. So it's going to be a little bit boring for you. But if any meat, any animal product is cooked in a sauce, you pretty much can guarantee it has sugar in it. So you're going to have to stick with like some basic like grilled chicken, hamburgers. I'm thinking they have that stuff. If they offer eggs in the morning, you can do eggs, ham, but it just has to be without sauces. That's the only way you're going to guarantee that it doesn't have sugar in it. All right, any other questions, you guys? Okay, well, thank you so much. Have a great night.